So I don't think it's going to be one factor. Like, I don't think the dot-com bubble crashed because of one factor, right? It's going to be a multitude of factors. And I think there's four things we need to check: the narrative box, the energy box, the social backlash box, and the supply and demand box, which I believe is the final one that's going to rear its head this month. So the narrative box, I think I would already check. I'm checking it off. People hate AI. It's bipartisan in the United States. It is overwhelming how negative people are. The average person, has a higher approval for, name your war criminal, like it's just insane, the backlash. So the narrative's gone. The only reason the AI bubble is continuing with the narrative gone is because Nvidia continues to have fantastic earnings and because of FOMO. Now that we have the narrative gone, well, you need it. Well, what's going to stop the earnings? Well, that's the energy box. And I believe the energy box is going to be checked in about a month. I do not believe the war with Iran is going to end. I do not believe that there's any way to put the, toothpaste back in the bottle on that one. In so much as a way that we go back to how things were a year ago. Yes, maybe the strait can be partially open, as few ships get through, whatever. But at the end of the day, costs are just up because of that. And that is going to, what does AI need? Tons of energy. So that's the second leg on the stool that's starting to fall now. Now, the third one, which I'll actually get to now, the supply and demand one, is one that I think is going to happen this summer. So SpaceX is IPOing when this podcast comes out. And I'm not going to bother to talk about what it's going to be because it'll probably pop up. Fundamentally, it's supply and demand. You can have hype, you can have narrative, you can jazz hands your way to another earnings call. But what always is unescapable: the principles of supply and demand. We've seen this with graphics cards so many times. If we increase supply by $1 trillion, I do not believe people are going to sell their Walmart stock to buy SpaceX. I think they'll sell their Tesla stock to buy SpaceX. I think people will sell their Google stock to buy Anthropic. And what that means is the AI space is now becoming more of a game of musical chairs where they're not pulling in money. They're just trading money back and forth between each other. And then $1 trillion hits in supply and demand. I only think there's so much more money you can throw into this market from investors that will be willing to throw it into the tech space outside of other spaces. And I believe that is ultimately what's going to peak the bubble. Once that's peaked, the narrative we've already discussed is gone. Energy is already an issue. And I think you'll see if SpaceX starts to go down, Anthropic will IPO. Their numbers will probably be horrible, as Ed Zitron has been covering, and it will underperform. And then the last one to go public, OpenAI, will probably faceplant. And once you see one faceplant, everyone starts to worry. People see the books don't make any sense. The narrative's gone. They don't have the energy to power the data centers. There's too much supply and downward pressure. Prices are going down. That causes more people to sell. Once that happens, the social backlash will hit in 2027. And I think it's done. That's what I think happens.
Yeah. It worries me that you might just see a massive collapse in the tech space in general, which actually is probably somewhat warranted, I suppose. But
yeah, the internet didn't go away because pets.com did.
But yeah, with $1 trillion, that's a significant portion of the American economy. The economy can't just keep expanding in this fake way that it is right now, without the evidence that it's producing anything. And I think just the cost of what it takes to produce what AI is producing, it just is fundamentally not there. It's just a money pit.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. And by the way, it kind of has to, because a lot of analysts have looked into this and it's well, the alternative is somehow the tech bubble gets even bigger, pulls money outside of every other bubble, which if you actually look at the stock market right now, outside of the specific places that are making the money, actually a lot of other places are hurting very badly right now. And I think there's only so much money that you can pull out of that. And so the only way this bubble wouldn't pop in the next 12 months is if they did find a way to pull money out of that, and then they did lay everyone off, and then that would cause a recession because no one has money to buy things anymore. If you are worried about this being a recession or a big tech crash, and that sounds scary, the alternative is scarier. The alternative is 100 people lock up half of the wealth of the United States, And as we've seen, they don't spend as much money as people who have less money because they have to spend it. And then there's a recession because no one's spending money anymore. It sounds like we're hoping for something that would be bad. The alternative's far worse, actually. I'm just hoping the alternative doesn't happen, everybody.
Yeah, and like you're going to feel the pain of a bubble popping eventually, and I think you just need to accept that. It's like ripping off a Band-Aid. Like to say we're in a depression is wrong, but like, yeah, we might be in one of the more tenuous times since like 2008, probably. And at a certain point, yeah, that correction is just going to reflect what some people are already feeling right now, and maybe get worse for the average person overall too for a little bit. But I think that's better than the alternative of this bubble continuing to grow and generate fake value for, I don't know, 5 more years, and then when that pops,
it's sucked up all the wealth of every other sector, so it affects people. Because I think if it pops right now, it hurts a lot of people. I'm not convinced it will be that catastrophic, actually. I think it's still going to predominantly hurt the ultra wealthy. And I will say this to people too. If you're under the age of 40, you should be hoping the bubble pops, right? Because that means you get to buy index funds at a discount over the next 5 to 10 years and then retire with more money. It's the people about to retire that should be thinking if they need to sell now before the bubble pops. If you're young, you want the bubble to pop. That's a discount for you.
Yeah, like if you're 65 years old, this might be a shitty time to retire, or because like for those types of people that have been told for their entire career, like this is the way you make money, like you might see a big downturn in the size of like your mutual funds that you were planning on retiring on. And that does worry me that some people won't be adequately punished, whether that be financially or criminally for what they've done, because I do think some of these people probably do need to be punished criminally.
I think if anything's going to have a lot of comeuppance with these people, and I do think there will be a comeuppance, by the way, I think it's going to be a backlash from the public that's ultimately going to make these people held accountable. A lot of them are completely disconnected from the common man and woman, and I just think they're kind of sleepwalking into it. Here's how I would put it. I recently saw an interview with Jason Calacanis, and the vibe that I get from these types of people is that, and this is, I think, the best way to put it, they think this is the backlash now to big tech. This isn't the backlash. This isn't the start of the backlash. Nothing's even fucking happened. Nothing is regulated. There's no material backlash yet. They think this is the peak of the backlash.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that. I think like once the economics of how these AI models are kind of economically unviable is probably going to be where things start getting real crazy. But
yeah, so at the end of the day, like I can't think of a better way to condense why I think they are sleepwalking and don't get how much of a backlash is coming than to say that the vibe in the Silicon Valley is that we're already at the peak of the backlash and that they just need to wait it out. And that tells you how disconnected they are from how mad people are at these things. They keep acting arrogant, and eventually people are just going to take their toys from them. Have you been straining your neck lately to find the cheapest prices on digital games and gift cards? Well, you don't need to do that any longer. Look no further than Eneba, the sponsor of this piece of content. Eneba is a digital marketplace for video gamers, similar in concept to eBay or Amazon, but specialized specifically for gaming. It was founded in 2018 and operates as a platform that connects individual buyers with third-party vendors and verified merchants. The platform aggregates deals across all major hardware ecosystems, including PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and even Nintendo. And as I'm showing on screen here, it provides a convenient search and filtering experience to quickly pinpoint specific survivor horror games or sandbox titles like Minecraft. And actually, on that note, I have been getting into Minecraft again lately. It's just a relaxing game to play at night with my girlfriend to unwind. This game has aged so well. If you have never played it, well, you can get it right now for almost half off through a verified seller on Eneba. Really, this is a highly efficient tool for both casual and dedicated gamers to compare pricing data and discover discounts on games that you already want to play but don't want to overpay for. So, to browse the current market deals for yourself, click the Trek to Eneba links I have placed directly in the video description and the pinned comment below. This directly supports the channel, even though it costs you nothing, and it ensures you get access to one of the best places to find the best pricing on digital products online. So support Moore's Law is Dead by checking out Eneba through the links below today.